funniest shit they've ever seen in their life. The way we like shake hands or introduce people to Toronto, they're like, oh my God. I'm sure those got no laughs here at all. You guys should sit down because this is, you don't need to cheer. You know what? I tried to get here as soon as I could. I'm sorry. This is my good friend, Ben. You know, the whole reason I started making movies is because when I was a kid, Ben had made a film for, what was it for?
Which one?
The one where you guys were like, you jumped out of the back of a van, you kidnapped somebody. Do you remember? It was like it was a very funny video.
I do, yeah. I mean, we made videos this summer.
No. This is something you made with your friends and you screamed Johnsonville Brats in it. What was the context of that film?
It was like a high school, I made it in grade 11, something like that.
And we went to Christian camp together, and when I saw that video that like a peer of mine had made, it blew my mind. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I know that sounds so stupid in today's day and age, but this was a long time ago, and it's very funny you're here. I haven't seen Ben in a long time. We went to camp together in the 90s. Wow. Absolutely, yeah. You should see this video. And I'm sure in many ways, because I'll hear from film students, oh, I want to make something like Nirvana the band. Literally, seeing this video that he made in, I guess, a school project is what that was for me. Where I was like, I want to do whatever that is. Oh, it's really, yeah, thank you, Ben. What an odd coincidence that you would be right here. Anyway, yeah, I find that quite moving. We went to a camp called Ontario Pioneer Camp that was just getting like video, like there was a group of young guys there who like really got into non-linear editing, and this was in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was the first time I saw people, they were older than me, they were basically gods, because like if you've ever been to summer camp, the people who are your counselors, you look at them as though they're the greatest people in the world, and I would see them making these videos, and I wanted to do that so badly. So when I came home, I don't know how I got it. I think I got a cracked version of Adobe Premiere, and I started teaching myself how to edit. And that was truly the beginning of my film career. Before that, like I would shoot videos on like VHS, but I didn't really understand like how movies were made, and it was editing, literally, seeing these older camp counselors do it, specifically a guy named Tim Masson, where I would watch him do this, and it blew my mind. Like, the sequence in this movie you just watched that takes place in 2008, where it's just cutting between us as adults and us as kids, that was exactly the kind of stuff in a different, much more nascent form that I was seeing happening at this camp. Like silly little camera tricks where when you're 13 years old, you watch it and it really feels like magic. You're like, I can't believe it. And I think that feeling that I had as a kid, I've just been trying to recapture constantly. And all my work is trying to create that same feeling of like the way a prepubescent kid sees something and believes that magic is real, even though anybody in the know would look at the same person and laugh at them and think they're naive and be like, oh, you're so stupid to care about that. Do you know what I mean by that? Like there's this strange property where if you know a lot, you can be cynical about it, but if you don't, you truly believe that it's magic. And I think that the characters in this movie and the reason I make movies is to try to capture that feeling of, like, I know we look stupid, but maybe this changes the whole world for us. And they're both true at the same time. Anyway, I'll answer any questions that you have. Yes?
How many permits do you actually have? And how many?
I'll tell you the truth. Nothing in this film was permitted. Everything we did is like, it was all within basically a kilometer of where we are right now. The whole movie was shot, and because there's so few of us, we would just go out and do it. And there isn't a single thing that you're looking at that you know, we would call the city and be like, hey, okay, we need to get outside of Drake's house to film this thing. Like you would never, the permitting process moves too slow for us to have done any of these things. It would have been impossible. The CN Tower is the perfect example of that. Like, how could we ever have asked them to do that? Although, I'll tell you something. In the end, I think it wound up very good for them, because the number one thing I would hear in the States is, I really got to go up that CN Tower. That looks really great, and I think that ultimately they're going to get a lot of people coming from the United States wanting maybe not to recreate that experience, but to at least see what it's like. And I would say in general, I was so blown away by the fact that young people, when I was in film school, and I suppose this is common in any artistic, or even I would say anywhere. As Canadians, I think that we're always trying to find ways, subconsciously or not, to at least imagine, oh, maybe I'll move to America. Maybe I'll move to America and make it. Maybe I'll become so successful at whatever it is that I do, whatever job that you have, where it's like, I'll move to New York and I'll be a somebody. And the first time in my life, being in the United States, young people would ask me questions and talk to me and let me know that they wanted to be you. They wanted to be you in Toronto. They wanted to be here. Like, they wanted to be in this city because they thought that this is where something was happening that they couldn't explain. And I'd never seen that before. Maybe a little bit during the Ford years when we had it so good. Do you remember that? When Bautista flipped the bat, we were planning, in an original version of this, we were planning to take a quick stop at the real heyday, the Toronto heyday of the Bautista bat flip and Ford and everything, just for a second, but it was impossible. The Toronto-centric jokes in this already were way too over the top, but people got them. Like, I think the only thing that universally not understood, but even then still got a laugh, was that close-up of Gian Gomeshi outside of that was just what's that building? The Bell Media building now? Whatever Much Music used to be. And I will tell you, in terms of the top 5 things that we did where we got in trouble, that was like number 2. Like, within minutes, they're out taking everything down, being like, calling the police. Whoever was in charge of that building was, well, furious that we had done this. And I mean, we were doing everything else in the movie. We basically never got caught ever. Although on this movie, the entire team did get arrested, and it was the only time that's ever happened, and it was really, really bad. And it led to like us changing what we shot. But sorry, that was a long answer to that question. Yes, you right there.
You're hilarious, and your humor in this seems super off the cuff. And I just wanted to know how much of the script was like you guys riffing on set, and how much was pre-written?
We don't write anything. So the only thing that we knew, I'll give you an example of how this movie gets made, and it's a story I've been telling that I think clarifies the whole process. So that Drake mansion shooting, all right? We were just out driving around, my friends and I, and we heard on the radio that there'd been this shooting that Kendrick Lamar got our guy. And so we were like, well, let's just go and see what it's like. So we drove, me, Jared, Matt Grayson, and Jay, to Drake's mansion. And there was a huge scrum with every reporter in Toronto.